If you're inspired by vintage, antique, nostalgic, and farmhouse Christmas decor, then stick around because I have a lot of things to show you. Today I'll be using a buffet to display a winter rustic village. Welcome back to another episode of Christmas at the Farmhouse. As you can see, I have piles of Christmas stuff sitting around. I did finish my mantle and you can go watch that video if you'd like, but as I was compiling footage of all the other spaces in my farmhouse, I realized I had way too much footage for one video, and I decided to break it down into bite-sized pieces. So over the next couple of weeks leading up to Thanksgiving, I will be posting different portions of my home, whether it be a buffet, my Christmas tree, my front porch. I have a hutch and a cabinet to do, as well as a bookshelf, a kitchen, and a coffee bar that I'm turning into a cocoa bar. And make sure you subscribe and click that notification button so you don't miss any of the other episodes that I have planned. So let's get started. I've debated back and forth about getting rid of this buffet. I did not like the finish on it originally, so I did repaint it in blue before I got started. I might do a separate video on this if you're interested in how to refinish furniture, so comment below if that interests you. When working with a large piece of furniture or even a large space like a mantle, I always like to start with a piece of art for inspiration. So I had this old vintage sleigh picture that I thought was very quaint, and because this is going next to my Christmas tree, I wanted to keep this less colorful and less busy. Next, I dug through all of my Christmas stuff and I pulled out things that reflected either the style or the color palette of what I was going for. I was really keeping to neutrals, browns, whites, creams, greens, and maybe a little bit of red. I've had these little carolers for quite a while. Clearly there's still a sticker on them and they were only $1.99, so don't know how long ago that was, but I do hope to use these with this village as well. Before getting started, I realized that this village was looking a little more rustic than it should because there had been parts that had fallen off and it was just looking a little shabby. So I took a few moments, pulled out my trusty glue gun, and added some of the things back, like the roof, the chimney, and this little weather vane. There were a couple things missing completely, like a little metal sign and one of the screens in the windows, so I may look online and add some fun little additions to this, but for now we're just going to use what I have. If any of you can recommend a miniatures website where I might be able to find something, please let me know, because that's definitely not my expertise. So I debated just using a plain runner, but I did want something more like snowy hills that didn't look bright white. So I had some of this kind of creamy felt fabric that I'm going to try layering and using some things to make hills and stuff. I then went and pulled some of my china or bowls out of the cupboard that I wasn't using to create some height on some of these spots. Unfortunately, I did not have one full piece, and again, I'm trying to do all this on a budget and not spend too much money, so I tried to piece these together and layer them. They have two different textures, which I wasn't sure how that would turn out, but it did end up kind of giving a unique look, and it kept to that old look that matched the houses. I'm just scrunching it up a little bit and kind of overlapping and rolling the ends under so that they kind of create a unified look. There really is no perfect way to do this, it's just kind of going with my gut and seeing what works. Before I go any further, I'm going to place the houses generally where I want them so I know where to put the bowls for hills and where to kind of tuck the fake snow. Now the bowls are in my way, so I'm going to take those off and bring those back later. And I'm going to add some height with these candlesticks. Now they don't necessarily fit in the village, but they do go with the look, and they'll add some light in this corner as well. I could have lit up the houses, but I chose not to since this will be right next to the Christmas tree, and I felt like it was a little bit of overkill, but I do think the candles add a little bit of nice ambiance. Now for a little bit more height and some texture, I'm going to add these really large trees next to the candlesticks. Well, there goes that little weather vane. The glue gun did not hold up for that. I'm gonna have to find something else. Now that I have all my larger pieces in place and generally where I want them, I am going to start layering. I'm going to go ahead and just start tucking the bowls in a few places and wrapping the fabric around the edge of it. I do use a bowl because it keeps it very soft on the edge, but if you only have books or something square, that works as well. I would just end up taking some of that batting and tucking it under the fabric to keep that edge soft. I ended up doing 2 small ones on the ends and a large one in the center. I'm looking more just for different heights and some variation to give it more visual interest. Now some of you might be thinking this looks a little bit messy, but please bear with me, trust the process. A lot of designing and decorating is kind of just going with my gut and seeing how it works and trying things out. But if you ever have any questions that I haven't explained, I would be happy to answer them. And just make sure you drop any questions you have in the comments below. Now that we've got all the large pieces in place and the snow drifts kind of set the way I want them, I'm going to start adding more medium pieces and some texture. I did want to add a little sparkle, so I had these glitter deer I tried using. The large one obviously was way too big, and even though the small one was a little bit big, I kind of cut them towards the outside of the village, so it made sense. Looking more for a look and a style, it doesn't have to be exactly true to size. These bottle brush trees, or some people might call them bristle brush trees, I had a variety of them in colors that were all dark greens to light greens and even some creams. I just started placing them around this village, trying to give variety, not putting too many light or dark together, and it really is preference. You'll see here I'm just trying to balance out all the trees in different spots. So if I put a light green one on the right, I might try to put another one in the middle or to the left, and so on and so forth. I had symmetry in a lot of what I was doing on the background, so I made this a little bit more haphazard. You can't see it from here. You might be able to see it at the end, but these little cream trees even had some gold and silver glitter on them too, so it added a fun little sparkle that tied in the deer. I did find another glitter deer, and then I thought maybe I would use one in the center just kind of as a focal point. You'll see later that I changed my mind and used something else, but it wasn't a bad idea, so I left it in here to show you that just different ideas. I really was hoping to use this Santa Claus. I've used him as a tree topper before on little trees, but I thought he was kind of the same look and feel for this village. I'd never used it with this village before, and it ended up being a perfect fit on top of this house. I did try another house, but that was not a good fit. And of course, it needed to go on top of the slate maker house. It made sense. Now I'm going to move the deer again because it is competing with the Santa Claus for a focal point, and it ended up going right back where I started, well, sort of. And then just a few more little trees. These were the ones that had the little gold and silver ornaments on them, so I like that it added a little bit of sparkle. Again, trying out a couple other things like these snowmen. They were too big. And then I ended up opting for these little carolers, which is really what I wanted to use in the first place. Of course, I needed to remove the price tag, and then they ended up just being a perfect fit. And I'm back with more trees. I clearly couldn't get enough. I actually really liked how it turned out. It just added a lot of texture without being too busy or colorful. And I tried really hard to use that last tree, but it didn't work. One too many, I guess. I ended up having to order candles, so I got these at Walmart. I'll link them below. They are very affordable and they burn really well and have a great smell, so I'm pretty picky about my candle smells. I've been ordering a lot of them from Walmart lately and I have been very pleased. And as much as I like a open pillar candle, I do get nervous about them burning in another room unattended, so these in the glass make me feel more comfortable. Bailey! And now for the finished reveal. That's it for episode 1. I hope you enjoyed and were inspired to get started on your Christmas decor. Also, make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any future episodes. And I'll be dropping a full Christmas tour on the day after Thanksgiving. So have a blessed and happy holiday.